Some of my content has mention of extreme violence, sexual assault, and/or other triggering content. Discretion is advised. I just finished watching Maid on Netflix, and I know it's kind of a huge thing right now, so I wanted to talk about it. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Dark Enigmas, where we talk about all of the mysteries that are on the darker side. Today's a little different. Usually I do like a true crime or a spooky case or something, but I started watching the Netflix series Maid, and it is based on a book, and I got totally wrapped into it. And what's interesting was I worked as an advocate in a domestic violence homeless shelter, and I saw a lot of real stuff in this series. So if you have not seen Maid and you want to see it, turn this off, go watch it on Netflix. It's really good. It's a story about a woman going through domestic violence. Okay, you got your warning. There will be spoilers. I'm going to talk about the ending. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, the portrayal of the domestic violence in particular was extremely real. The way that this show portrayed domestic violence as more than physical is extremely emotional, but it's so important because just as the character in the show finds out, domestic violence is way more than getting hit. It's emotional, it's financial, it's yelling, screaming, throwing things, scaring your children. And there's one part in the show where another person tells our main character that she knows that it won't just end here, that the next step will be physical violence. And that's very important to remember, that DV sometimes is a progression. Now, not always. They sometimes don't hit you at all. It's still domestic violence. It's still wrong, and you can still seek help. So, the portrayal of the DV is extremely emotional and extremely real. But it's very good. It's good that this series is out there because it explores the realness of a DV situation, is that it's not always you get away and everything's fine. There's real life happening at the same time. So I think that was really important to show. Also, what I wanted to touch upon too is the shelter. So their shelter in the show is apartments, like apartment complex. It's on lockdown, and I believe that that is what some domestic violence centers are like. Mine was not, but there is some that are like that, where you get your own housing unit. There are some where it's just a room, and you have to make do with what you have. But it's better than what you are coming from. So the person who's running the center is amazing. She really knows firsthand experience what DV is like, and it shows how someone can go from a bad situation to helping others, which I thought was really important as well. The shelter also, it shows when she comes in them taking her cell phone. And I think a lot of people will be like, no, that's a control issue for me, or I have to have my phone, or, you know, whatever. Not all domestic violence centers do that, but it is a safety issue to have your location on. So if you are in a domestic violence situation, having your location on and leading an abuser to you and others is not good. So it's a safety issue. But that portrayed key elements of a shelter. Also, where she is going shopping, and they're like, everything is free, and she just doesn't know what to pick out. That's the little things that people don't think about in domestic violence situations. If you have the ability to donate to a domestic violence shelter, do it, because there's always, always, always a need. There is always a need for clothing, all sizes, kids' clothes, shoes, winter clothing you don't think about, but also toiletries. So feminine products are a huge thing because you're leaving everything. And then what happens when you need feminine products? So that toiletries such as toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, things like that. Donate to your local shelters, not only DV shelters, but homeless shelters, because there are people in need. So that was a big part of the shelter that was very, very interesting. The part where she is sitting at the stop sign, because in the show, they have to go a certain distance away from shelter to use their phones. And so they're all at the stop sign checking their phones. And she has all this paperwork to do for college and for housing and all of this. So she just like sets up a workstation right by the stop sign. And it really shows the tenacity of her and that she's not letting anything stop her, which I think is a huge positive aspect of this show. So another big thing that I thought was interesting was the children's viewpoint. A lot of times we forget that in a domestic violence situation, there are kids involved. Sometimes there's not, but a lot of times there is. And it's not only you uprooting your life, it's your child too. And this shows the impact on the child, trying to find a new preschool, trying to find care for your child, and having that safe space for your child. She fought and fought and fought and fought for her child. And I think that was really good that they showed that. When it shows them being homeless for a while, it broke my heart, because I know people that have kind of been in that situation where the government is supposed to protect you, but they have rules in place. And one thing that the show got wrong that I wanted to point out is that in the show, you have to have a example or proof that you are being abused, which is like a police report or a hospitalization or something like that. That is not true. If you are in a situation where you need help and it's emotional and you don't have those things, you can still go to a shelter. At least where I live in Kansas City, you can. You can still go and find help. And it showed this long struggle of hers to jump through hoops of the government, trying to get food stamps, trying to get housing, trying to get daycare. And at one point she says, I have to be able to have daycare to get a job, but then I have to have a job to get daycare. And that is extremely real. You have to have proof that you're working to be able to get free childcare, but you have to have childcare to get a job. And in the show, she does not have a reliable family member to go to. And so that was just extremely real and heartbreaking that our system needs fixed. So the people around our main character are going through things as well. And one thing that they did show is the perpetrator, the guy that was committing this domestic violence. It really showed an insight into what he was going through as well. It showed the two sides of our perpetrator, to where it's generational trauma on his side. So there is a generational trauma, alcoholism, problems that is creating the domestic violence that's impacting everyone else around our victim. And it shows the realness of perpetrators, that yes, they're doing this horrible thing they should not be doing. Don't go back, don't feed into it, yes. But it also shows that those people are human. The way that they show the generational trauma, the generational issues in this show is amazing. They really show how the way that you're brought up impacts the rest of your life and your decisions. And for our main character, seeing the relationship between her mom and her dad and abuse there leads to her being a victim in the future, which could lead to her daughter being a victim. And on the perpetrator's side, you had his mom having alcoholism, him having alcoholism. It's on both sides, and this child is directly in the middle. And I really thank the makers of the show for showing the mother's tenacity to overcome that, because that's a huge problem that we face as just humans. So that was a really good, wonderful part of this show. The mental health struggles of this show were amazing. The mother going through bipolar and having to be hospitalized and having all of these things and not being trustworthy with her granddaughter, all of these things are real things that happen to people. And you're watching this show and you're thinking, God, what else could go wrong? But this is how life is. Life just gets in the way. And when you have someone threatening your life, threatening your safety, plus everything else you have to deal with, it does feel like just one hit after another. And so this show really did a good job of showing just life, mental health struggles, and just getting through the bad times. So that is kind of my recap and opinions on the show Maid that's on Netflix. The reason it's called Maid is because she ends up being a house cleaner, and the way she goes through that is very interesting. So definitely, if you haven't, watched the show and tell me in the comments below how you feel about the show, if you're gonna watch it, if you're not, and other things about domestic violence, because I certainly don't know everything. A lot of people don't know about this issue, and so being able to speak up about it, telling your story, is really good for other people as well. So go watch Maid. It's really, really good. Netflix, thank you for the job you did with the writing, with the filming. It was very good. If you are in a domestic violence situation, just know that you are not alone in this, that there are people that will help you. I will leave some resources below. I always do whenever there's talk of domestic violence, which honestly, I am in true crime. I'm a true crime YouTuber. However, the amount of domestic violence I see and killing I see from domestic violence and intimate partners is out of this world. So just know that it's a real possibility that this leads to not only violence, but murder. So, thank you for watching. I'll be back with another true crime story next time. But thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hey guys, thank you for watching. If you liked this video or any of my other content, please click the subscribe button and the bell and the like button to help me with my content and my channel as it grows. Also follow me on social media platforms. Right now my biggest form of communication outside of YouTube is TikTok, so please add me on there. I make some funny true crime content on there. So thank you guys for watching. Love you.